Yum. My favorite is the rice cake. Do I have sauce on my face? Hello everyone, welcome to Jacqui at Home. Today I have a really special recipe for you. This is something that I have never really shared on this channel before. We are making a popular Korean street food called Sotteok Sotteok. Sotteok Sotteok is actually from my brand new cookbook. It's a recipe that I shared in my recent cookbook, My Dinner and Dessert Diary. This is my brand new cookbook. Within these pages, there are tons of recipes, but what makes this book so special is that with a lot of these recipes, there are some heartfelt stories and inspiration, and I detail the inspiration behind a lot of the recipes that mean the most to me. And today we're cooking Sotteok Sotteok. This is a popular Korean street food, and it's Korean rice cakes with little tiny sausages in a yummy sweet and savory sauce. And there is a special story that I detail about this recipe and why I decided to put this recipe in my book. In my book, I talk about why this recipe means a lot to me, and I say, here's a little excerpt. The Sotteok Sotteok recipe came from my new interest in Korean street foods. For 6 months, which is very true, I watched countless videos about Korean street food. I tried my hand at making a few, and these are the best so far. I personally can't wait to travel to Seoul and one day taste real Sotteok Sotteok on the streets of South Korea, but this is the closest thing we're gonna get to it right now, and let me tell you, this recipe is delicious. It is so yummy, and it's also fun to make and fun to eat, so let's get started. This recipe starts with Korean rice cakes, and here's what they look like. I actually buy these online, but you can find them at any Asian grocery market like 99 Ranch Market or H Mart. But the easiest way to get your hands on these is through Amazon. And I will leave a link down below for these if you want to give this recipe a try. I highly recommend it. We're gonna use 1 pouch of rice cakes. And in case you don't know what these are, they're rice cakes. These are actually pretty hard when they come out of the package. We're gonna put them in here. And rice cakes are really great in texture. That's my favorite part about these, is they're super chewy and they lend themselves to whatever flavor you put them with. They soak up sauces and marinades, and they're just delicious. I guess you could attribute this to maybe pasta, but these are more chewy and they're a lot more fun to eat. I love rice cakes. I'm gonna put the rest of the rice cakes away because I have 2 other recipes that I use these for, and I will definitely be sharing them on this channel. So if you're not subscribed and you're into Korean flavors and foods, definitely hit that subscribe button and follow along. So as I mentioned before, the rice cakes are a bit hard. So to soften them up and make them a little bit more workable, I'm gonna add a little hot water to them just to soften them up. And you don't necessarily have to submerge them, but just coat them in some hot water and let them sit for about 10 minutes or so. So we're using these little cocktail sausages, which have great flavor. They're packed with flavor and they're perfect for this. You could use traditional Korean sausages, whatever you find, but I find that this is easiest, and I want you to try this recipe out, and I want you to try a little Korean street food in your own home, because that's exciting and unique, and it takes you to a place that you don't go every day, right? So we've got our sausages hanging out, we've got our rice cakes softening up in the hot water, and while these are just hanging out, we're waiting for the rice cakes to soften up, because we're gonna eventually skewer them onto some kebab sticks, but we're gonna make the yummy sauce, and that happens over on the stove. So what we're using here is gochujang, which is a Korean fermented red pepper paste, and this is sweet and tangy and warm with spice, and it's just gonna give this sauce such great flavor. It is absolutely delicious. We need about two tablespoons, maybe 3. Okay. I also don't want to scare you with how spicy these are. These are not spicy in the sense that it'll burn your mouth. It's more like warm spice, comforting spice, and it's tangy and sweet. So the tangy and sweet really balance out the spice. Now, we're gonna add some luxury to this sauce by adding some ketchup. We're gonna add in some soy sauce. I'm gonna add a little rice wine vinegar. I like to do a little bit of honey. Yum. And that's just gonna make this so sweet and delicious. Now, this next step is optional, but I have some gochugaru or Korean chili pepper, but I like these a little bit more on the spicier side. This is like also a really good like game day dish or something fun if you're having like a gathering and you wanted to do like a little fun appetizer. I would definitely add a little bit of spice unless people don't necessarily like it too spicy, but I like it spicy. So I'm just gonna add just a smidge of the gochugaru. And last but not least, I'm garlic's #1 fan. I'm gonna grate in 2 garlic cloves right into the sauce here. And I like to do grated garlic versus chopped garlic or minced garlic because I feel like the grated garlic just really melts into the sauce and becomes one with the sauce, and I just want every ounce of that garlic flavor. You could get away with just doing 1 garlic clove if you don't want things too garlicky, but oh man, I could never get enough garlic, honestly. All right, and since it's on low heat, I'm just gonna mix this in until it all comes together. All right, so our sauce is done. I'm removing it from the heat and I'm just gonna set it aside for now. Our rice cakes have softened up and I strained out the water. They are nice and fork tender, you can see. And you could already tell that they are super chewy and bouncy and delicious. They don't have any flavor right now, but we're gonna elevate that and add the flavor. All right, so we've got some kebab sticks here, and what we're gonna do is, you guessed it, we're gonna skewer the sausages and the rice cakes. We're alternating between sausage and rice cake. We have skewered all of our cute little Sotteok Sotteok, so our sausages and rice cakes, and now we're gonna take them over to a grill pan and give them a nice golden sear. I've got my grill pan on medium-high heat, and I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of olive oil or vegetable oil on the grill pan. Now, the rice cakes and the sausages are already cooked. We're not cooking anything per se, like nothing's raw. What we're doing here is just toasting the outside of our sausages and rice cakes and giving them a good, nice char and, you know, elevating that flavor. All right, our grill pan is nice and hot. We're gonna add our skewers here. You hear that sizzle? Yum. Now, if you don't have a grill pan, you could do this in a large skillet. Just keep in mind that you have the skewers, so make sure your skewers can fit within that pan. If you don't have a grill pan and you don't have kebab sticks, you could totally just do this in a skillet. Once you see the sausage start to brown up and the rice cakes are getting a little golden, you can go ahead and give them a flip so you can toast the other side. Yum. So now we are going to take the sauce that we made earlier. We're going to take a little pastry brush here and we're going to slather these guys with the sauce. And you could do this with a spoon if you don't have a pastry brush, but the pastry brush really allows you to get in those nooks and crannies. In fact, in my book, in the recipe in my book, one of the steps is to use a paring knife and give the sausages a little slit so it soaks up more sauce, and I completely forgot that step, so it's fine though. They're still gonna be drenched in the sauce and taste delicious. The other side is getting nice and golden, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip them and sauce the other side. Look how yummy that looks. Ooh, yum. All right, our little Sotteok Soteoks have come off the grill and they are smelling so delicious. And I like to do just one last thing before I devour them. I'm gonna give them a little drizzle of honey because I love that sweetness. And it just elevates everything. I love that little hit of sweet that you get right before you take a big delicious bite. And then I also like to sprinkle a little sesame seeds on them. And now my favorite part, the taste test. we go. I'm gonna get a bite of the rice cake and the sausage, or at least try to. Mm, mm. 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 Oh my God, they're so yummy. They're sticky and sweet, warm with spice. They got a little tang to it. I love the flavor of the sausage and the chewiness of the rice cake. And that is how you make Sotteok Sotteok, a popular Korean street food at home in your own kitchen. I hope you give this recipe a try. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, as that really does help out this channel. And if you aren't subscribed, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next week. Bye.